Heart palpitations. It's not what you think. If your heart skips or flutters or pounds suddenly, in most cases, it's not actually heart damage. It is a problem in the electrical system, more specifically, the electrolytes in the electrical system. Electrolytes are minerals that allow electricity to travel through the nervous system. And so it's the electrical system where the problem really is. And unfortunately, most doctors never even look at the electrolytes as a part of the problem related to palpitations. And out of all those electrolytes, the most likely problem is a deficiency in magnesium. Now, I do want to make a disclaimer. If you have chest pain, fainting, known heart disease, go get those things checked, okay? But the majority of people with palpitations get their EKG tested and it comes out normal. They get another test called the echo and that comes out normal too. And so the doctor will just say, well, it's just stress, just give it time. Maybe we'll do some more testing. But what I want to get into now is the simple mechanism and exactly what you can do to get rid of these palpitations. First question is, what is a palpitation? If there's a skip beat or an extra beat, that's called a palpitation. And you're going to feel something weird in your chest, or you might feel like you need to take a breath, or maybe you even feel a little bit dizzy. But at the core of this problem, we really have an unstable electrical rhythm, which does not mean your heart is failing or there's any type of structural problem at all. It means the nervous system is a bit irritable. Because it's not mechanical, it's chemical, it's very easy to fix. Now, if you look at these three electrolytes right here, calcium is usually the big problem, okay? Calcium causes contraction of the heart muscle. Too much calcium will also cause twitches, cramps, insomnia, and anxiety. Too much calcium overstimulates the nervous system that goes to the heart. Well, guess what? Magnesium is the master controller of calcium. So out of all the electrolytes, magnesium is the most important one in nerve stability. Magnesium is also the solution for twitches that you might get in your body, or cramps, especially in your calves or your feet, especially in the early morning. Insomnia. Magnesium is the best thing for insomnia, as well as reducing anxiety. Magnesium helps to relax the muscle. And the big problem with magnesium is when you get it tested, it rarely shows a deficiency because most of the magnesium is not in the blood. Most of it is deep in the cell, like 99%. So when you test the blood, chances are it's always going to be normal, despite having a deficiency. And then other things can come in, increasing the demand for magnesium, or even causing the release of too much magnesium through the urine and trigger a palpitation. We're going to get into that. One really common trigger for palpitations is stress, okay? Now, there's two things involved with stress, adrenaline and cortisol. Well, it just so happens that magnesium buffers adrenaline and cortisol. But if you're slightly deficient, all it takes is a little stress to push this over the edge, create a deficiency, and boom, the palpitations kick in. So we have stress that can increase the demand for more magnesium, but there's other things as well. If your sleep is really crappy, you're going to need more magnesium. If your blood sugar is not stable, let's say, for example, you're a diabetic or a pre-diabetic, the demand for magnesium goes way up. This is why diabetics have such a difficult problem with magnesium. And also hormonal shifts, whether someone's going through menopause or even having blood sugar issues. Also, as a side note, if you have heartburn or acid reflux, what that means is you don't have enough stomach acid, which can also be a problem in the absorption of magnesium. Exercise greatly increases the demand for magnesium, and this is why people that sometimes exercise notice the heart starts skipping a beat or palpitating. And so why does exercise create a demand for magnesium? Because magnesium is involved in making energy, ATP. And what is exercise? A massive depleter of ATP, and you're going to need a lot more of that to be able to generate energy when you exercise. So if you notice this connection between exercise and palpitations, it might not happen right away. It might happen just like an hour later, then we know it's a magnesium deficiency. Another way someone can become deficient in magnesium is through magnesium excretion. So you're losing magnesium through the urine excessively. Caffeine can act as a diuretic, and that can be in coffee and tea. So diuretics are things that cause you to urinate more and lose magnesium. Going on a low-carb diet When you go on a lower carb diet, you get rid of fluid and you notice palpitations when you do the low carb thing, or when you fast. Now you know why. Because you were already deficient and that pushed you over the edge. Heavy sweating, you're going to lose electrolytes. That could be one reason why you have these palpitations combined with the exercise. So we increase demand, increase elimination of magnesium, and not a good combination. Also, alcohol will cause more magnesium to be lost to the body. Now, the third thing that can aggravate palpitations is just not getting enough magnesium from the diet or from your water. We used to get our magnesium from the well or the spring. Now people consume city water, which doesn't have any significant amount of electrolytes like magnesium in it. But also, if you're not consuming enough magnesium foods. So what are those? Salads, anything green has chlorophyll. At the heart of chlorophyll, that green stuff in vegetables, is magnesium. Chocolate has magnesium. Of course, it also has sugar, unless you have the really, really dark chocolate. That's a very tiny amount of sugar, and that's one source of magnesium for some people. So a lot of people ask me, what supplements do I recommend? Now, of course, I'm not biased of my own high-quality supplement line, but if you go to Amazon and type Dr. Berg supplements, you'll find more information. Avocados are a good source of magnesium. Certain nuts have magnesium. But if you calculate the foods that you eat, most people are not consuming enough foods to even get enough magnesium to run the body, let alone create a therapeutic effect to fix something like palpitations. And also junk food, ultra-processed food. When they process food, they break it down, they strip it of all the nutrition, right? So when you consume junk food, you're eating empty food that then requires you to digest it and process it. And because there's no nutrients in it, other than some of the few synthetic vitamins they put in it, now your body has to tap into your reserves of these nutrients. That's really the purpose of vitamins and minerals and trace minerals, to actually act or assist in the biochemistry or the metabolism of digesting and assimilating food. And so junk food is very depleting of nutrients, especially magnesium. Magnesium is on a circadian rhythm as well. And it's at its lowest point in the early morning. And if you ever notice in the early morning, there's higher incidence of leg cramps. There's higher incidence of heart attacks. All of these things at the root cause are related to a magnesium deficiency. There are specialized tests that you can do, but a lot of doctors don't like to do them because they require a lot of effort and specialized procedures. The type of magnesium that is best to take is a magnesium that is very absorbable, like 80% of it gets absorbed. That's magnesium glycinate. It also helps increase something called GABA in the brain, and it calms you down. It's good for stress. It's good to reduce cortisol. So that combination, I think, is the best, especially compared to other forms of magnesium like magnesium oxide, which is only 3% absorbed, and you get diarrhea when you take too much of it. Now, as far as how much magnesium to take, the RDAs for magnesium are roughly about 400 milligrams per day. You might want to try that, but if it doesn't go away, you might want to increase it. But the problem is, you don't want to take all your magnesium in one sitting because your body is only going to absorb so much. So just break it up. Have some in the morning and then have some at night. And maybe you have just double the RDAs, like 800 milligrams. And that way you can actually build up your reserves and also increase your energy, because your energy is dependent on magnesium. You might say, well, I thought magnesium is just good for sleep. How can that improve my energy? Is that going to counter it? No, it actually takes energy to sleep well. But magnesium typically doesn't just boost your energy, it just supplies the raw material so your body has the capacity to make more energy. Now that we talked about palpitations, I think it's best to now get into how to prevent more serious problems with the heart using magnesium. And all of that is in this video right here. Check it out. You'll love it.